Hey everyone, sorry for the delay. Y'all can't hear any music right now, right? My music was working and then it stopped working, so I'm like so confused why it's doing that. So I'm gonna try to figure that out real quick. But hello everyone, happy Sunday. Happy early Halloween. We will figure this out. It's something to do with OBS. I don't know exactly what. Oh, maybe that'll fix it. Let me see if Okay, actually, yeah, you guys should be able to start hearing music now. So hello, everyone. Uh, how am I? Thanks for asking, Kevin. To be honest, I'm feeling a tiny bit under the weather. Um, I I went to a Halloween party last night and may have had a couple too many shots, so I'm a tiny bit hungover, but we're gonna do our best. Thank you, American Light. Appreciate it. Ben, so unfortunately, submissions are not currently open. Um, I put out a form a couple days ago, uh, and people were able to submit then. So sorry about that. Hopefully you can submit for the next round. But yeah. Also, how's the music volume? Is it too loud? Glad to hear I'm not the only one who's super exhausted today. Music volume's good? Alright, thank you guys. Hello, everyone. So let me just pop out the chat. And we'll get started. Yeah, okay, so the way we're doing this going forward, every week that I do a unit review, it's going to be a theme, and so we're starting off with seasonals this week. So, we're just gonna get through as many seasonal units as we can. So we're gonna start off with this Manuela, who was on the thumbnail. And this is from Cheryl. And Cheryl says, she gets support to get back her Aegis back up with one hit, and if I want her to just survive, I use Distant Defense 4 or Fallen Shield, but even without them, she's been able to survive and kill duo Croms. So yeah, like, honestly, Arcane Eleuthir made it possible for people like Minter Manuela to become basically like Brave Hector. So like I would be surprised if she didn't perform pretty much just as well as he does. So it's super cool. And honestly, if I had Arcane Eleuthir, if I had Winter Manuela, I might actually invest in this, but I don't have either of those two things. Actually, wait, no, I got Winter Manuela. I got a copy while I was summoning on double special heroes, but one copy's probably not enough. Oh, and I'm glad you guys noticed the new art. That's actually by CVK on Twitter, and I think CVK is actually in chat right now. So if you want to go check out their Twitter, I will link it because they drew the new promise art. I'm choosing to interpret it as like a ascended promise, but like however you want to interpret it is very valid. What class type is Ascended Promise? Well, she's got a lance and a tome, so I don't really know. I feel like it's like both. I don't know. I should do the theory craft, or maybe legendary. I don't know. Ascended, legendary. I think either one is valid. But yeah, let us move on to the next unit because we've got a lot of units to get through. We've got 88 submissions. I set the form to cap off at 80, but we still got 88 submissions in total because the way it works is it won't kick people out who were already on the form before it closed. And so we got some stragglers in who had opened the form before it was reached 80, so they were still in it. But anyway, so this is Summer Lawrence from Lewis. They say, enemy phase menace. Dragon counter Lawrence transcends combat phases. And then in brackets, he does not. Yeah, I mean, I think for the very specific purpose of countering dragons, I think this is very good. um, but, you know, he's not that good of a unit, but I respect the drip Lewis. Chat seems to like him too. Hi, Clara. No, you are not too late. You are a couple away. But anyway, nice Lawrence. I love to see, like, less meta builds. Oh, good point, Daniel. He can counter CYL Tiki because he's red and she's green. So, yeah. Slay. Alright, on to the next one from Loot Gaming, who, as their name might suggest, submitted a loot. So they submitted their summer loot, with Flora Guide, Catch, Preempt, and Menace. Yeah, no, like, as far as loot's gonna get, this is probably one of the ideal builds. I would assume they probably also have Trace on her, but Speed Preempt is like the new shiny toy for ranged flyers, so, yeah, I think this is pretty awesome. Only difference I would make is if we do ever get a rearmed blue tome, obviously, that would be a good upgrade for her, but, yeah, aside from that, super slay. She probably won't be one-shotting too many units with Speed Preempt, but, she's fast enough to double units anyway, so she gets in 2 hits on them before they get in their second hit, and that's probably enough to kill. So thank you for submitting that. Next up, from Fire Corgi. They submitted this near save Valentine's Lucina. They say it's for light season and also arena. Yeah, I mean, this is really strong, Corgi. I know you've had this Lucina for a while. I remember how crazy your +10 journey for her was. But yeah, like, this is really awesome. I think obviously the Ethos for Arena, outside of Arena, you probably use something else. Oh yeah, I didn't even notice that this has the new save skill. That's such a good point. Like, she really benefits from both attack and speed. So yeah. The thing is, like, yeah, Crossfighter's saying it's like basically her base kit, but I mean, like, what more do you need, you know? She's just very good. And I'm sure she does great. And I think Corgi also has Far Save on her, too. So, they've definitely got options. Oh yeah, Hardy Fighter. Good point, Kev. I didn't think of that. You could use Hardy Fighter as well. Savvy Fighter is probably a bit weaker. But I mean, also not everybody has Hardy Fighter fodder, so, yeah. Alright, on to Clara. We've got her, Spooky Monster Myrrh. Super cute. Yeah, I mean, her Refine is really what makes her strong. The fact that there's that 80% damage reduction on the second hit, at least for my Myrrh, has made her able to survive, like, Brave Erica's with Luna on the second hit because of that 80% damage reduction. So, I know, I think she's very strong. Clara says, I don't use her as much anymore since I got Fallen Rhea, but I still like her a lot. And she's trying to get Defensor's Unit in Hardy Fighter. Yeah. So I think, that's really good. Aside from that, you could, if you do end up giving her Hardy Fighter, you could give her a tier 4 stance in the A slot just to have guard as well. But yeah, I mean, I also run Defense Res form and near save on my Myrrh, so this is pretty similar to what I run. Another option is Dragon Wall, but Hardy Fighter is probably just better if you do ever manage to pick it up. Savvy Fighter has null follow-up, it's not overrated for fast armors. Okay, I mean, if it has, like, full null follow-up, or at least, like, the important part, I guess it's quite good, yeah. I don't have any Savvy Fighter units, so I wouldn't really know too in detail, so thanks for pointing that out, guys. Alright, next from Cassie. This Tropical Gambler Joshua. They say, I don't have many seasonals, especially not highly merged ones, but I just picked up this Joshua from the recent Forma batch. He has been able to kill a +10 Far Save Brave Edelgard, which I did not expect. So yeah, I mean, this is actually really cool. The White Cap Bow, obviously a really great pick for him with his high speed. Flashing Blade. I guess the Flashing Blade plus the tempo makes it so that on the second hit he guaranteed gets off Ruptured Sky, which is pretty cool. And the Oath obviously is really really helps with this build. And, like, you could give him the null follow-up seal. As I say that, Hunley's in chat saying, take a shot if Promise recommends the null follow-up seal. But no, I actually would not recommend the null follow-up seal for him. Because I think for him, having higher stats is more important than having the null follow-up, because he is kind of, like, missing that attack power. Kev's also pointing out that you might want to go for an offensive A skill instead of a blade. That's also an option. Like, you could give him Ideal or Swift Sparrow, I guess. But yeah. No, super nice Joshua, and one of the things that I love about Hall of Forms and how much more accessible Formasouls have become is that, like, you can pick up one-off units who you're probably never gonna use again. Or, like, who you probably are never gonna merge, but you still get these really cool skills on them. So, yeah. But yeah, no, super cool. Next up from Marcus, we've got another Valentine's Lucina. This one is very similar, but we've got the attack defense near save instead and Ruptured Sky. Marcus says, I'm debating going a hardy fighter route since she struggles against some very strong physical nukes. Still fun though. Yeah. Oh yeah, American Light's pointing out in chat, if you have not already checked out your Celestial Stone Shop, it's resetting very soon. Like, by very soon, like, maybe like a day or two, I don't know exactly how long. And if you haven't picked up a Formasoul already and you have the Celestial Stones to do it, I would highly recommend that. Because the rest of the rewards are kind of mid, at least in this round. Alright. Oh, hi, Joel. I love Valentine's Lucina. Honestly, yeah, I wish, you know, I say this a lot about a lot of seasonals. I just wish they were more accessible. Like, I would never go out of my way to pull for her, but I mean, I wish they put seasonals on, like, legendary banners again. And I know double special heroes were meant to kind of, like, stop the need for that, but sometimes I wish, like, some legendary pools just feel so lackluster that I wish we got, like, good seasonals in those as well. But anyway, that's just a pipe dream. It's not happening. Alright, but yeah, I mean, Hardy Fighter definitely would be a great pickup for her, I think, especially if you're struggling with Savvy Fighter. She does lose a null follow-up from Savvy Fighter, which is a good point, Corgi, but Hardy Fighter does at least neutralize guaranteed follow-up attacks, which is, like, part null follow-up, kind of. But yeah. Alright, next up from the person who has asked me to refer to them as Promi's favorite mod and overall bestie, aka Hunley. We've got this baby Innis build. Yeah, so Innis does actually count as a seasonal because all the baby units count as seasonals because they were special heroes. So yeah, not really much to say about this other than I think this is very good. I think Baby Innis is not used that much anymore, but I still think he's really awesome. And the only thing, I mean, if you do ever get tempo for him, I think that would be really strong, so that you can get off the guaranteed specials. But yeah, there's not much more I would recommend to change with this. Yeah, Kid Innis, I agree, Vapo. He's kind of hard to tank still on the right setup. But yeah. Ideal 4 would also be a great option, Cheryl, I agree. But that's kind of expensive fodder, so I get it. Alright, next up from Shiny, we've got Shiny's favorite character, Lewin, but in the seasonal form. And, yeah. Blue tomes are kind of in this weird spot where, like, they don't really have that many good inheritables. So Drifting Grace is probably the best you're gonna get for an offensive unit. Obviously, pending the Arcane Blue Tome. But no, right now, I don't really think there's much more you could do with this, to be honest. Other than, you know, the standard advice, if you've got tempo, would be pretty good. But aside from that, this is kind of the best you can do. I mean, you could change the C skill, you could give him Ideal 4. You could give him like menace. Attack speed menace might be a good one to use. Kev points out, kind of prone to one-shots. That's true. Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to patch that up a little bit, you could probably give him, like, impact, but I don't know if it's worth it. I wish there was an attack speed impact, and I know that would be, like, busted, but, yeah. Oh, yeah, or you could give him, like, wind sweep and then the null follow-up seal. That would work, too. Yeah. I forgot a lot of units can just do that now because of the null follow-up seal. Okay, next one from Knight. We've got the White Cat Bow, Alincia. They say, I went for a more supportive build for her. The skills on her aren't the greatest, so I'm open to suggestions on skills to give her. So yeah, I mean, you could give her pretty much any kind of, like, basically more premium attack speed boosting A skill, like Unity, since you've already got the Bond 3, or attack speed push 4, or Swift Sparrow 3, or even an impact skill could work if you want her to stop people from doubling on initiation. Also, good point, Connor. I would agree. I would say to speed refine the bow over attack refine, because on a ranged refine, you're only getting one attack from the attack refine, and so 2 speed might actually be better. Also, I know you said you're going for a more supportive build, but I think if you want to focus more on her potential, definitely something like the Blade Session Seal would be really good. Like, I know all these, like, are kind of premium, but a Trace skill I also think would be pretty decent for her. And I know that kind of gets rid of her support, I guess, so all these suggestions are more so, like, to improve her as a unit, but for support, Link is pretty good. And then Close Guard, yeah, another thing, if you want her to be stronger on her own, you could swap it out with, like, Attack Speed Ideal 4, or Menace, or something. Yeah, people are pointing out Breath of Life is a pretty difficult skill to set up properly, so maybe something like Distant Guard might be better. Wings of Mercy could also work, that's a good point, Lyric. But yeah, I mean, it really depends on how much you want to invest in her, because I know some really good skills are quite expensive fodder to get. Alright, next from Royal, we've got this baby Erica. Super cute, genuinely still one of my favorite, like, baby arts in the game. I think they're adorable. Yeah, I mean, this is obviously, like, a melee specialist build, so for what it is, it's quite good. Godlike reflexes, obviously very strong, along with the spurn and the speed smoke. We got like 50 layers of damage reduction here. If you find that you're mainly using them in enemy phase, you could give them like Kestrel Stance instead. But if you're also using them in player phase, Ideal's fine. Unity is also an option. Kev's pointing out you could give them Shield Pulse for better godlike reflexes. That's true. That's true. But, I mean, aside from that, I really don't see this unit a lot, so I'm actually not 100% sure what their weapon does. But I think it's at least decent. But yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, their duo skill also gives dodge. So I don't know, like, if you need the spurn, I do think, like, you know, if you want to give them Shield Pulse, really, I think that could be a decent option for their B skill, just to get godlike reflexes a lot easier. Alright, next from Blast69, we've got their work in progress Far Save Doer Marth, waiting for his refine. He barely got enough defense to tank. I'm hoping to get another Valentine's Lucina for Savvy Fighter. Yeah, I mean, I don't remember what Shining Bow does, so I don't know if it's good, but if you're struggling with their defenses, I would say you could give them Winter Ignat's bow. I think it has attack, defense, unity in it, so that would definitely be an option. Someone's pointing out Shining Bow is +7 damage if the enemy has 5 more res than defense. Yeah, I think there are definitely better options, I would say. The biggest one I can think of again is Winter Ignat's bow. I'm sure there are others, like Spendthrift could be an option. But yeah, I think the biggest thing here is you could swap out the bow. But also, you're right, they will be getting a refine relatively soon. So, like, for a budget build, Sparks pointing out guard bow is actually a really decent option. And then I think that has guard in it, probably. So you might want to swap out their A skill then to something like a Unity. Hardy Fighter, also expensive fodder, I know, but I think Hardy Fighter can make a lot of unmerged armors still pretty good. Guard Bow's Distant Defense 3. Okay, never mind then. The name is deceiving. Ranged units can't use Hardy Fighter? Really? Never mind then. I guess Savvy Fighter really is kind of your only option then, aside from that. Guard Bow came before Guard Weapons? Why is it called Guard Bow then? Oh, Reindeer Bow. Yes, that one has guard. The Winter Felix one. Yeah, I mean, honestly, Blaz, that's totally fair. I wouldn't really recommend investing heavily into them, like, anymore at this point anyway, until they get their refine. So, like, you know, if this is a pretty good build. Alright, next up from Fraco. We've got their Halloween mail Corin. They say, here's my next +10 project. Just as you were down bad for Halloween Duma, I was down bad for Corin with the wallet. He tanks melee like a champ and usually one-hit KOs in retaliation. So yeah, I mean, male Corin is a unit who probably will be foddered off a lot because of Dragon's Ire 4. But I think he's actually really good. He's got that damage reduction on the first hit, which is awesome. And then I guess he hits back with Iceberg. Because he's got Slaying, and then with the Warding Breath, he just instantly hits back with Iceberg. Yeah, his art is adorable. Honestly, aside from Dumilla, my favorite art on the banner. Kev says, if you want to double down on the one-shot, then Dragon Wrath 4 might be nice. That's a good point. If you have the other Corin, might be awesome to give him Wrath 4 just to make him one-shot more often. Moosebell has Dragon's Wrath. Doesn't the other Corin have Dragon's Wrath too? Like, the Halloween female Corin? Didn't we get a dupe on her? Or am I remembering that wrong? But yeah, I mean, I just hate that finish skills don't have easily inheritable prerequisites, so you can't, if you want to pass along a finish skill, that's all you can pass on. So you can't pass on, for example, Dragon's Wrath 4 and attack speed finish. So the fodder is quite limited. Honestly, really waiting for IS to raise the skill cap to 5 inheritance, because there are so many skills nowadays that don't have a tier 3 version. So I think it'd be really nice to raise the limit to 5, then you can pass off a full tier 4 skill, which with no prerequisites, and then also another, like, tier 4 version of a skill. Unlimited skill inheritance. I mean, I don't think they would do that, but Rearmed Heroes is, like, kind of the closest that they've gotten to that. But anyway, let's move on so that we can get through more units. From Geki, we've got their duo Crom. They say, Awakening is my favorite game in the Fire Emblem franchise, so this is one of my absolute favorite heroes in my barracks. Pretty standard build. I chose Mirror Impact to help patch up their low res on player phase if engaging against a mage, and everything else is more or less standard. Yeah, this is quite good. Duo Crom doesn't need too much in terms of investment to make him good. If you wanted to, I see you've given him a floret, you could use a trait fruit to make them speedy. I've seen some really scary speedy Croms. And then you could give them, like, Ideal or something. But honestly, he's quite good enough as is. Duo Crom is just one of those units who, whenever I run into them, unless I have a dedicated counter, it's annoying. Although Brave Hector does nice against him, which is cool. Alright, from Augusto, we've got Winter Fae. Augusto's a big Fae fan, just like me, so love to see that. They say she can use Hardy Fighter too, but this build is more fun. I use her with Winter Altina. She saved my sanity at the start of Vault of Heaven. I think Arcane Grima's an amazing pick for her. I really wish I had gotten Arcane Grima so that I could give it to Faye. It's definitely her best weapon. So yeah, I mean, you said you have Hardy Fighter too. That's probably the only other thing I would have recommended, but I think Dragon Ball's also very good on her, and I think that's actually what I run on mine as well. So yeah, very, very good build. Thank you for submitting this. I always love seeing Winter Fae. I don't get to use her as often anymore lately because she has like kind of fallen off. But when I do use her, it's a lot of fun. And her voice lines are some of the cutest in this game. Dragon Wall 4. You know what, Joel? With the amount of like good dragon skills they've been giving us lately, you might be onto something. Oh, she can tank Brave Seliph with Hardy Fighter? That's crazy. Hi, Mooney. But yeah, no, this is an awesome Fae, and like Joel's saying, if we ever get Dragon Ball 4, well, that would be... What would that even look like? You know, I don't know. Maybe it would have flat damage reduction in the same way that Hardy Fighter does. But that would be way too strong. Spark says, I'm waiting for a beast counterpart for Dragon Ball that scales off defense. I do think that would be really cool. Yeah. Alright, next from Danny, we've got this Erica. Winter Erica. One of those units who you really don't see often. So thank you for submitting her. I love to see that. They say, I really love Erica. This build is nothing too special. Just wanted to make her a decent healer and decent at tanking hits. Yeah. She does seem like a decent unit for sure. I actually have a Winter Erica too. And I do think that, like, there aren't that many armored healers, so she's in a pretty interesting class. I don't really have any suggestions, honestly. Witchy Wand is a really good pick as, like, more of a supportive thing. I think it's what I run on my Linhardt, actually. And he's also very tanky, just like her. You could give, like, close counter if you wanted to counterattack to both, because she does have decent res too, but close foil's best, like, probably fine in most matchups, because it's really only dragons that you benefit from if you go full close counter. Palm Staff could work, yeah, that's a good point. And yeah, I guess people are pointing out that this is kind of like a mixed phase build, but you might want to consider, like, I guess specializing on one phase if you wanted to. But, and I mean, if you're using her alongside other armors, I would definitely swap out Armored Boots for the Armored March Seal, which could be really helpful. But yeah, I mean, just as far as, like, her being the one tanking, I do think Witchy Wand is a great choice. If you give her Far Save, you can use her in Worker Sieges. Yeah, it's kind of hard to recommend investing, like, Far Save in a unit who I know probably isn't, like, the best choice for it, especially as far as their specials go. Like, you can't run any kind of defensive special or offensive special, so it's a little bit weird. But I mean, you could. I've seen some Far Save Winter Lissas. Have you considered giving it null follow-up? Well, she's an armor, so no, I have but that would be funny. Arcane Staff, yeah, is something that could really switch up the future of staff units, honestly, and it could turn them into decent save units, depending on how good they are. She can survive a hit and not tank for the whole team. Yeah, that's fair. She's pretty tanky. I didn't realize that she had that good defense and res. Alright, next from Ritsu, we've got this +10 Duo Leaf. They say, on this banner, after around 500 orbs, I got 2 Henriettes, 6 5-star Alphonses, 7 Leafs, and 0 Gustavs. I decided I might as well +10 Leaf at that point. Yeah, this is scary. Infantry Speed Tactic is, like, actually a really meta pick for Arena if you're running other infantry units on your team because it's a tier 4 skill, so you scored max. You also support the other units on your team. Yeah, like the Trace, probably the ideal pick. Might change attack defense catch to like I don't super like the catch seal because it's +5 attack defense, which isn't like that low, but I still would prefer something like Form or Solo. But I mean, I think it's fine. And then attack defense push, I was thinking like, would there even be something better to replace it with? But I don't know what that would be. Like, because they don't have access to impact, so that's not really an option. I guess catch would be another option. And if you truly want to be evil, you could do a speedy duo leaf build, where they are able to guaranteed double and also have that high speed to get around units who negate their follow-up. But yeah, really, really scary unit who you don't see that much anymore, but I still think in the right situation they can be strong. Alright, next from Toaza Kanuva, we've got Rinka. They say, so glad we got a Rinka seasonal. I agree, and I still gotta say I'm a little bit salty that, like, on her own themed banner, she was the 4-star unit, but that also does mean she was a lot easier to +10 for people. So, yeah. I mean, the fact that we got the Arcane Sword takes her from, like, an 8 to a 10 IMO. Yeah, this is a really cool build. Surge Sparrow synergizes really well with Arcane Eleuthir, I think, and you can get the healing with that bonfire. You've got the no follow-up, Menace. Speed defense form. I know you're like super doubling down on her speed and defense, but honestly, I think her defense is already like crazy high, so I might go for like attack and speed instead. But yeah, not much to say about this. I think she's very strong, and I'm really glad you got the +10 on her. Her inheritable just gives an uncapped debuff to the foe. I didn't know that. I thought it was capped, but I guess. But yeah. All right. Next we've got from Wolfmist. We've got this uplifting love Alphonse. Interesting. Okay, so the first thing I'm seeing is because you're running him as a Farsaver, Close Reversal probably isn't the best A skill, unless you're like running him as a Farsaver but also putting him in the front so that he's tanking physical hits as well. But if you're running him alongside a Near Saver or someone else who takes the physical hits, I would swap out the Close Reversal for something like maybe Distant Defense 4 or a Stance skill. Also would swap out Armored Boots, because if you're using him as like a tank, you're probably better off giving him something like Defense Res Form as a seal or something. And Snow Globe is pretty good, but I would probably not attack refine it, because you only, when you're attack refining something, you only get 1 attack on the ranged weapons. So I would probably like res refine it or something to make him even tankier in both directions. Thank you, American Light. I hope you have a wonderful meal and a wonderful Sunday. But yeah, no, this is really cool. Just a couple things that I would swap out to make him more of just a specialized Farsaver. The Night Spider asks, what song is this specifically? The song is called Ultima from Final Fantasy XIV. I will type it out in chat. This is one of my favorite tracks from the whole game. So yeah, I'm glad y'all are enjoying it as well. All the music has been for Final Fantasy XIV. I am so obsessed with this game. Alright, next from Style, we've got this Felix. They say B skill probably needs to be changed. So yeah, I mean, we've got the Guard from Tannenbow, we've got the Distant Defense 4. The B skill, again, I've been informed he can't run Hardy Fighters, so I'm not going to recommend that. But you could give him... See, he's one of those rare units who um, can actually run like he actually has a speed stat. So if he's allowed to run Savvy Fighter, which I'm not 100% sure if he is as a ranged unit, but like that would be an option for him if you want to go plus speed and maybe plus defense or plus res, because right now you're just doubling down on the defense and res. But okay, people are saying they do use Savvy Fighter. Okay, so if you have Savvy Fighter, I would give it to him. Because, yeah, Vengeful Fighter, not the greatest. I'm trying to think. There's, like, Crafty Fighter, which I think has Guard. And I think there's one more fighter which, like, neutralizes units' penalties. So that'd be another option. But, yeah. Savvy Fighter's probably your best bet for the B skill if you ever pick up the fodder for it. Slick Fighter. Thank you, guys. I always forget the names of them. And especially since, like, pretty much nobody runs Slick Fighter. I don't even know who has it as fodder. Anyway, next from Verdant Regan. They say, haven't been able to get more merges, but I still really love using them. Yeah, this is pretty strong. I think Alm is one of those units who you don't see often. And I don't really know why, because I think they're actually pretty good. I guess just because there are, like, so many dodge tanks nowadays. But I definitely think this is very good. I assume you're probably running them with a Farsaver, so you don't have to worry about, like, DC or anything like that. Hi Knight, yes, member units have already been reviewed. We did go over yours. So if you want to check out the VOD, you can rewind and see that part. I agree, their art is very pretty. Oh yeah, weapons due for refined semi-soon. Yeah, you know what? I'm actually not even going to give you any advice, because I don't know what their refine's going to do. But I think this is quite good. Lunar Flash is obviously a great special. Too bad they don't get Lunar Flash too. Alright, next from Xyrox, we've got Dean. Cool. He's a unit who kind of got overshadowed because, like, New Year's Fafnir came out pretty much right before him, and he's probably a better version of him. Definitely a better version, but also Dean is free to play. So yeah, I think with the null follow-up, Dagger and Windsweep, he's really good. He's pretty much like a budget New Year's Fafnir. Unfortunately, you don't get the Canto, but he's still very good for a free-to-play unit. They say he's been stuck in +2 since collecting grails sucks, but I'm still very proud of how I built him. Hoping that Arcane Dagger has null follow-up and slaying so I can confidently fodder lethality to him. Kevin says, I wouldn't go Smoke 4 if you have Sweep. Menace is better. Yeah, as someone with a +10 New Year's Fafnir who thought Speed Smoke 4 would be amazing on him, I've definitely been a little bit disappointed, and I kind of just prefer Menace for general use. But also Speed Smoke 4 is a flex, and I respect it. Yeah, I mean, not much more to say. He's really good. Alright, next from Nick, who was in chat earlier. I think he is still in chat. So we finally got to your La Rochelle. They say, this is my former La Rochelle I picked up. Wanted Return Plus and Catch for ages. I would give her IVs, but I have too many units to fix as is. That's fair. That's fair. I get it. Alright, so what are we working with here? Catch is obviously great. Return is great. I don't know what Windfire Balm does, to be honest, but I know healers don't really have the greatest specials anyway, so I don't really know if it matters. Sorry, I was just grabbing a drink of water. You could give her Dazzling Staff if you want her to be guaranteed that the foe can't counterattack, because sometimes the flash from Staff of Rostin doesn't go on who you want it to, especially if people are running a save ball. But Trace is still pretty good. Oh, people are pointing out that they don't think Windfire Bomb can proc with Return. Gray asks, will I finish up the previous submission someday? Maybe. I will do my best, but I still have, like, 150 submissions from last time. So I'm really sorry, but, I'll do my best. There's only one of me, and there's a lot of you guys. Nick says it does proc. Okay, yeah, she has to attack to proc. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, return is... Honestly, return is kind of just there to be, like, reposition. What do I think upcoming themes could be? You know, I haven't really thought ahead that far. If you guys have any suggestions, I would love to hear them. Because, seasonals kind of just seem like the obvious one to do right now. But, if you guys have any suggestions for future themes, would love to hear them. First ever plus 10s, I like that idea, but, I think a lot of people, like, don't have any plus 10s. So I don't want to, like, you know, gatekeep people who don't even own a plus 10 unit. Free-to-play heroes, I think, is a good one. Like, Grail units, yeah. I like that. Legendary units could also work. Mythic units. 3 to 4 stars only, yeah. Separate them by generations. Yeah, that could work. Thank you, Vanilla. Have a great day at work. What about units that are specifically not plus 10? That could work. Sci-fi theme? That sounds like it'd be cool for a seasonal banner theme. Maybe not for a unit review, though. Yeah, we could do different movement types. Clown builds. Yeah, you know, I did want to do something like... If it's, like units who just have builds that are kind of wacky, but I feel like that's really hard to quantify, and I feel like I'm gonna get a lot of people still submitting, like, their super meta builds, so, I don't know. Different units from the same banner. Res stacking Fafnir builds, yeah. Okay, maybe we will do clown builds. It's just gonna be kind of hard to, you know, judge whether something is or is not a clown build. But well, I'll think about it. Thank you guys for the suggestions. Alright, from Sensopi, we've got this Baby Leon. They didn't include a description, so I'm just gonna go off of this. Yeah, I think the only thing I would really recommend here, I can tell Ether and the Rally are for Arena, but for the A skill, I would probably give him a tier 4 stance instead. And then maybe like the quick riposte seal just to make him an exclusively enemy phase unit. Ideal, you're like almost never going to be getting the full +9 because he probably takes at least some damage. Kevin says, I'd go tempo. Yeah, that's a pretty good option for him as well. Although I know it's pretty expensive fodder too. But yeah, this is really good. Alright, next up from Christensen 2025, who I think is in chat right now as well. We've got this Kurth Naga. They say, just finished him on his rerun and I couldn't be happier. Or prouder, sorry. Kurth has been an absolute wall for me, and he absolutely deserves the extra treat of the arcane weapon. I agree. I think the arcane weapon for PRF-less dragons, and for dragons with like suboptimal PRFs, is just such a good thing to have. So I'm really happy for those of you with invested dragons who managed to pick up the skill. Oh yeah, good point. You can refine his weapon, so... Yeah, Res Refine is an option, Defense Refine, but probably Res Refine just because you do have Dragon Wall. And yeah, if you have a Floret, obviously I would always say for your +10 faves, I think the Florets are worth it, but if not, that's also okay. And then probably go plus attack if you do have a Floret and ever want to give it to him. Yeah, you want to Res Refine him, you're just Refine Stone broke right now. Totally fair. But yeah, not really much more to say about this. I think the distant stance works great with his Dragon Wall. Warding Breath, I guess, helps get his specials off. And I can tell the Ether's just for Arena, too. What are my thoughts on the new Ascended? Garima? I think she's very strong. I think she's extremely strong. Both as a unit and as fodder. Oh no, she's rearmed, my bad. I was thinking Garima. Who's the new Ascended? It's Air, right? Air. I think the attack buffs she can stack are crazy high. I think she's a very good user of like heavy blade lethality. But yeah. I personally didn't pull for her, but I do think she's quite strong. She also has a good a good color to face off against Brave Hector. Oh, what are my thoughts on the new Ascended promise that was seen on the community post? Yeah, I mean, we've got it in the overlay too. This was just very nice of CVK over on Twitter to draw for me. I really was not expecting that. So I love the art. I think it's great. I've always wanted to use a lance, so appreciate that. All right, now from Brave Blitz, we have got one of the craziest builds you guys will see today. Whenever I see Brave Blitz's Sakuras, I'm just like so impressed. But yeah, no, they say, this is Halloween Sakura who can get instant lethality. This is just my favorite seasonal in this game and will probably remain that way forever because it's literally the first seasonal of a favorite character of mine and I love Halloween. I think this is so cool. That instant lethality kind of goes nutty. Wow, yeah. Wait, Ouch Pouch is -2, and Times Pulse is -1, so how do you get the 4 cooldown down? Do you have, like, Infantry Pulse support on the team? Or, like, a Duo Crom support, maybe? But either way, like, that's crazy. That's very good. And with the null follow-up, you do guaranteed get that second hit in. Ideal 4 would be another option, yeah. But then you need to get extra special cooldown from somewhere, like even more. So there's that. Quicken Pulse would fill the gap, but also null follow-up is awesome. Yeah. Don't really have anything to say. I love your Sakuras. I think she's very strong. And it's really nice to see a unit who doesn't get a lot of love normally get some love. Alright. Unlucky Squared. We've got this duo Sigurd. Still one of my favorite arts in the game. I love this art. I still never got this unit, but I really wish I did. So they say, the most beautiful duo IMO. I love them. This build works as a hybrid ARD and Summoner Duels build, with minus attack letting me use them on my defense while being difficult to bait. And Duo Sigurd is already a wonderful Ninja Corin counter, thanks to his innate magic damage reduction and color advantage. So I added Deflect Magic because I think the second hit of a Brave Weapon activates it. This is so cool. So yes, you're right that Deflect Magic does activate when like there's a Brave Weapon, so it activates on the second hit. But I feel like for general use, like just maybe stacking distant defense again might be better, or giving them like an attack res boosting. Or I guess you said you don't want them to get baited, so never mind. Yeah, you could give them distant defense. Oh my god, happy birthday, bestie. Everybody in chat say happy birthday to Belbersyke. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Oh, Unlucky, you're actually in chat. Okay, Unlucky squared, like the math squared. Okay, I like that. That's cool. But yeah. Oh, people are saying he gets 50% damage reduction on the first hit from his weapon, and then yeah, I guess that works with Deflect Magic. Although, aside from Ninja Corin, I don't know if there are that many units who would be helpful against, so that's why I feel like maybe a more general purpose seal might be better. Oh my god, it's so nice to see everyone saying happy birthday. I hope you have a wonderful day, bestie, and don't go too hard. Don't go too hard on your birthday. Winter Lysithia, I guess it would work against her too. So yeah. Reinhardt. I mean, of course Reinhardt, but I feel like Reinhardt quads them anyway. So, yeah. That moment of promise forgets Reinhardt exists. I'm sorry. Augusto says you suggest to give him Sabotage Attack. That's pretty good for support, yeah. But yeah, no, super cool. I agree with you. I think this is one of the prettiest arts in the game. Alright, next from Adia. We've got their Winter Felix. They say, this is just something I wanted to do for fun. I still would like to give him Fury 4 eventually. I think this is really cool. I think you don't often see Daring Fighter anywhere. But I think it's cool. maybe Fury 4, like you said, would be an option. And yeah, he just has a lot of visible stats. I mean, another option would be Bold Fighter, but Daring Fighter's probably just better because he's fast. Kev says, I don't like Daring Fighter. Bold is just better in every way, IMO. Yeah. I do think this is a really cool, fun build. Whitecap Bow, people, you're right, Hunley and Enderkev, you guys are right. I think that would be a great addition to him because he's fast anyway, so he can make really good use of it. But yeah, glad you're having fun with your Felix. I always love when people build their faves. Okay, so Verdant Regan, before I move on, I gotta answer this. Verdant Regan is asking, what job do I main in Final Fantasy XIV? That is a great question. I am the kind of person who does not like playing the same job all the time, so I switch a lot. But Sage is, I would say, it's my favorite to play. Second favorite is Gunbreaker. Third favorite, probably like Astrologian or Dragoon. I'm also currently leveling Red Mage. I think it's really cool so far. It's at like 75. And honestly, someday I want to try all the jobs. What's my 7th favorite? I only have 7 jobs leveled right now, and I would say my least favorite of them is probably Dancer or Paladin. But yeah, no, Sage is my favorite. No problem, Adia. Thank you for stopping by the stream. Does Gunbreaker break guns? They have like a gun blade, basically. Something that's like a sword and a gun. You can shoot stuff. What is a Final Fantasy XIV job? It's like a class. You know, like a job and class are interchangeable. Oh, sorry to hear that, Raisin, but yeah, I mean, thank you for the well wishes, but I'm sorry to hear that you left. Kevin says, job, something I don't have. You know, I would say relatable, but also I'm starting my new job tomorrow, so I guess I'm soon to be not unemployed, which is awesome. But anyways, on to the next build. From Jessie, we've got this Lissa. She's really cool. Jessie says, she's shockingly fast with Springy Axe, but I'm hoping for a rearmed axe soon. I've managed several Abyssal maps with her and Valentine's Lissa as a Farsaber. That's so cool. Do I say the word tomorrow weird? Do I say it in a Canadian way? I really don't know what that means. But anyway, thank you all so much for the well wishes. I hope it goes well. Excited to start earning money instead of just spending it all the time. But anyway, back to the Lissa. Yeah, I mean, she's very fast. That's awesome. Yeah, I guess Springy Axe, you could swap it out, but I'm trying to think what else would work. I don't know what else could work. You're right that, like, rearmed axe would be the ideal, but we obviously don't have that yet. Attack speed near save was so tempting. Honestly, yeah, if you ever do pick it up, that could be a good option. Hunley says Seahorse for the auto follow-up. Yeah, that could work. But, so someone was saying Savvy Fighter already has no follow-up or something. So I don't know if Seahorse is necessary. But, yeah, that's definitely an option. Yeah, I don't really have any other advice for this. I think this is very good. Alright, next from Grace. Grace says, she's one of the units who I decided to hyper-focus on in this game. No special reason, I just think she's really cool. Yeah, this is great. I think I would, if I were you, I would probably give her the DC Dragon seal, because you got a lot of, like, res and defense. So I think that would be a really awesome build for her. Arcane Grima's obviously really good on her. Does Arcane Grima have a guaranteed follow-up attack? Because if not, you might want to go quick riposte or something. But then you would have to give up on the DC Dragon Seal, so I don't know. Arcane Grima does have a guaranteed follow-up? Okay. Okay. So then forget that. Yeah, I think you could invest more in her speed if you wanted to, but honestly, I think the res is more than good enough. And yeah, people are pointing out Res Refine on Arcane Grima might be a little bit better. But this is pretty good too, just to make her tanky in both directions. I get it. Super Slay. Alright, from Lily, we've got Charlotte. Another unit who you don't see very often because she is an old gen seasonal. But her stats are actually decent. So let's see. Lily says, Charlotte's my favorite character, so I tried my best for her. Ninja Naginata, so she doesn't need null follow-up that much. Gale Force, Flashing Blade to charge up Gale Force. Tempo to help her win the Flashing Blade check. Times Pulse to help charge Gale Force. And Blade Session. And they're asking if there's a way they could improve her as a Gale Forcer. Honestly, like, you're right with the Ninja Naginata. You don't really need null follow-up. I think this is probably kind of the ideal Gale Force build. Yeah, Kevin points out if this is the initiator, then it's good. But if you're using her on a team where someone else is like a Wings of Mercy beacon, you could give her Wings of Mercy. So yeah. Hunley says, would Curtains, the It's Curtains Lance be better? That could also work, yeah. But Ninja Naginata just has a lot more, I guess, firepower in it too, because you get those 2 hits, but then, yeah, you're kind of out of luck if you just one-shot, so, yeah, It's Curtains, if you do have it, would be something to consider. What else? I think you did great. This is a great build. Oh, this song is a little louder. I have to turn it down. Alright, next from the air, we've got this Summer Freyer. Wow. That is really something. Another unit you don't see often. They say super tanky mixed phase Summer Goat. Maximum defense for Ignis proc. Wow. I don't remember what his weapon does, so if someone in chat does remember, would love to know. But I feel like even if I don't know what it does, I still think this is a really good build. I think his summer art is so slay. Like, everybody liked this art when it came out. It is very good art. So he has a guaranteed follow-up. Okay. Does he get anything else too? But yeah, no, like, this is crazy. The Attack Smoke 4 is such a good skill on him, I think. Oh, Kevin says, not a super big fan of Attack Smoke 4 since Beast Cavalry also already have impact. They do, when they initiate, but Attack Smoke 4 is for enemy phase. So it's like he gets in there, initiates, and then nobody else around him can follow up. So I still think it's pretty good. Aside from that, oh, thank you for the description. If unit initiates combat or is within 2 spaces of an ally, grants attack +6 to unit, inflicts attack -6 on foe during combat, and unit makes a guaranteed follow-up attack. So it's pretty basic, but pretty strong too, I would say. Yeah, I think this is really good. Another option is Menace, but I think Attack Smoke 4 is really good if you often send him in and then just leave him there so that people can't follow up. Alright, on to the next one. From Wilsonstein. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Fury 4 plus Candle Wax puts him in a range of Brazen and Desperation after 1 combat. My beautiful, beautiful himbo. That's so interesting. Wow. This is similar to the Felix we saw earlier, but we do have the Fury 4 here. I have never seen this many daring fighters in my life, and we've seen them in one day. That's awesome. But people are saying Bold is probably better still. Storm Eagle asks, are we still reviewing members? No, we are. No, we've been. Members finished like 15 or so ago. But yeah, this is cool. You could give him Whitecap Bow, kind of the same suggestion that we had for the other Felix. But I love seeing interesting builds. Alright, next from Leon. We've got this Eldigan. They say, I don't typically run this build because I use him mainly as support, but I wanted to show off my investment and love for my faves. That is very cool. I remember we saw Speedy Eldigan in the other stream too, so I don't know if this is the same one. But it might not be. Regardless, I love seeing slow units made fast. I am such a big fan of that. Yeah. It's certainly not optimal, but it is very cool. Yeah, no, Connor, they did mention that this is not their normal build for him. This is just kind of as a flex. So I'm sure they probably defense stack to counter Milla, but yeah, I think this is really interesting. Alright, from Wacky Warrior. We've got this Lachesis, seasonal Lachesis. They say, this is the seasonal ult that instantly got me from barely caring about a character's existence to being interested to know more. The elegance that was Ballroom Bloom Lachesis had me suffer through hardship to be able to +10 her, and it is a joy to be able to use her whenever I do. That's so cute. I think, I'm not really sure. Oh, I guess Phantom Rest for Tamari. Yeah, if you're going all in on like the support, I guess like Wings of Mercy can be helpful, but I would probably give her Sabotage, because Tamari is attack speed debuffs? Question mark. If so, you could give her like Sabotage Defense or Sabotage Res as her B skill, just to double down on that support. Double orders could also be cool if you want to go that route. Yeah, you could do air orders too to be more supportive. Her res is already quite high, so I don't know if the Phantom res is 100% necessary. Also, yeah, Connor points out if you ever get Still Water, I do think that would be a really good pick for her. I know it's a very limited skill, but I think her defense kind of sucks anyway, so you're taking that hit on that doesn't really matter. And I do think if you manage to get Still Water on her, I think you really don't need the Phantom res. Augusto's also pointing out you can give her Infantry Speed Tactic, also very expensive fodder, but if you do use her alongside a lot of infantry units, that is great support. Yeah, if you only have one Duo Thor, probably not worth foddering her off. She is a very good unit on her own, but if you do ever get a spare copy. Alright, thank you for your submission. From Kiryu Kai Forever, we've got this Winter Cecilia. They say Arcane Dagger when? Yeah, Cecilia, I have her at +10 too, and at one point I was strongly considering giving her Far Save as well with Courtly Mask. This is pretty much the same build that I was debating, so I think that's pretty good. In terms of fighter skills, Crafty Fighter is guard, right? So you're good in that department. Yeah, I don't really think I would change anything other than the fact that I think her defense is a little bit lower and you're like super res stacking, so maybe swap out her seal for something that helps her with defense, like defense res form maybe, or attack defense form. Or Kevin points out deflect magic seal could also really work, or even deflect missile. Yeah. But yeah, the damage reduction from Courtly Mask is obviously really good. She is slow, so you can't really do much more with her. But yeah, I think this is a really good build. Just a couple tweaks. I mean, if you find yourself struggling against Brave Tomes, I personally give Deflect Magic to a lot of my save units. So that would be an option. But yeah, she's really strong. I think she does kind of suffer from being an older armor, and so her stats aren't the greatest compared to the newer gen armors, but I still think she can hold her own. Alright, next up, we've got this Fae from Eevee. They say, "You'll come to learn I am a big Fae lover. I built her because I love her, plus I needed a far-save armor. Aside from Hector." Okay, this is cool. I don't remember what Wily Fighter does. I know it has a guaranteed follow-up. But aside from that, I don't really remember. And then you got the attack, defense, far save. I think really the only thing I would swap out here is maybe change defense res bond for defense res unity instead, maybe? Wily neutralizes buffs on foe. Okay. So if you do want to change that, you could get... You've already got guard from Reindeer Bow, so you don't need Crafty Fighter. Oh, sorry, Hunley. Yes, I meant form, not unity. Sorry. But yeah, so you don't want Crafty Fighter, but another option would be Slick Fighter to neutralize your own penalties. But I think Wily Fighter is pretty good, so yeah. Alright, from Chompy, we've got this Dorothea. They say, "I was always a fan of Dorothea, and I was able to get a good set of skills for her in Hall of Forms. I plan to give her Florid Cane when Soth comes back around, because Dancers with Kanto is always fun." Oh, Slick would not work with Unity. Thank you guys for pointing that out. I haven't played Awakening, Belversike, so I didn't marry anyone. I do really like Sumiya, though, so I would probably pick her. But anyway, this Dorothea, she looks great. I love seeing the Courtly Fan Windsweep combo. I think it's very strong. Obviously, like, she's kinda gonna struggle to proc lethality because it is 4 cooldown, and I know you're running Flashing Blade, so I guess that does kind of help with it. But if you do ever, like, have external support for charging your special, then you could maybe give her, like, attack speed form as a seal, or attack speed solo. No infantry pulse, 7.8 out of 10. Actually, infantry pulse, we've got you on the list here too. You're coming up. But for chat's sake, please don't ask me when you are coming up, because it just takes time. It takes time away from the stream, so I'm sorry about that. But yeah, no, this is great. And I do think the Kanto dagger on her would be really interesting. Alright, next from Sharina Lover. We finally get to see their amazing Spring Sharina. We've got, yeah, there's a lot going on here. The tempo is such a good pick for her. The ideal actually works really well with her because I think she has healing in her weapon. So I actually think ideal is actually really good for her. Yeah. I don't really have any advice to give you. This is, you also mentioned you have like 50 other skills on her, so I think this is super strong. Hi, Abinku. She is very kawaii, I agree. But yeah, I mean, this is just so slay. Thank you for sharing her with us. Hi, Allison. She is kind of horrifying, isn't she? She is very, very strong. Alright, from CVK next, who's actually the amazing Twitter artist who drew the art that you see on the side of my overlay. The Ascended Promise art. So yeah, this is their corn, so let's see what they said if they added a comment. They just said looking for attack speed catch for her. Wow, yeah, you even invested the chill defense res. Wow. Wow. I would probably swap out, I guess Blurred Blade actually synergizes kind of well with attack speed oath. But you could give her Drifting Grace if you have the fodder for it. If not, I think Blarblade's actually a pretty decent option for a nuke build. And Catch, yeah, obviously if you ever pick it up, I do think it would be better than Push on her. People are saying she wants dominance so bad. I agree. She was really good at one point. I agree. I remember when Blade Tomes were like meta. Oh yeah, that's a good point, Infantry Pulse. We can get Drifting Grace from the Divine Codes. So if you do have spare Divine Codes, that would be another option instead of Blarblade. Or, yeah, Rearmed Blue Tome. We've said this a couple times in the stream, but if that ever happens. Alright, next up from Mooney. We've got the Queen of Fire Emblem, according to them. We've got it done. Let's bring it done. So, okay, first thing, you can refine Arcane Grima. So I would probably refine it, like either defense or I see you're going with kind of like a speedy build. So I would speed refine it, actually, if I were you. Hello, Mooney. But yeah, this is so cool. I don't think I've ever seen this unit built speedy. And I guess with Arcane Grima, it's almost like a soft null follow-up along with Hardy Fighter 2. I think this is really cool. I actually really like this. Thank you for the really cool unit submission. Alright. Actually, Storm Eagle, you are next on the list. So we've got your Carla. You said, for one of my favorite seasonals ever, she is horribly underutilized. With +5 attack and speed, she gets 27 true damage on her AoE. It's a struggle to find someone able to take that hit and live to tell the tale. Honestly, like, Tari Carla, from the start when I read her weapon description, I was like, this unit is really strong. And I'm kind of glad she caught on, like, she hasn't caught on to the meta, because she would be really hard to tank. I think this is really strong. Only thing I would probably change is I don't think like attack speed oath is doing too much for her. You could give her oath 4, but honestly I don't even think I would recommend that. I would recommend maybe like a attack defense menace. I think would be quite strong on her, because then you get that extra visible attack for your for yourself, and then you lower the foe's defense as well. So I think that could be better. Or yeah, like Infantry Pulse says, you could give her Times Pulse and a better seal. That could also work. But yeah, she's very good, and she doesn't even really need merges to be amazing. Alright, from Surge Caster, we've got this Quan. They say, I know Eldigan exists, but I like Quan a bit more. Also, any C-slot suggestions will be appreciated. So I guess this is kind of like on your defense team, to stop the visible defense check from Milla in late season. So for that purpose, his defense is awesome, really, really high. As the C skill, if you want to, I guess, like, supportive C skill, I'm trying to think what I would even recommend. Thank you, Night Spider. I hope you have a wonderful day as well. But yeah, aside from that, I don't like what are good C skill options? I really can't think of any. Oh, why is this music so low? Let me turn this up. Okay. Ground Orders is another option. True, but if you're using him on like a Catria Bowl, you really don't need that. Infantry Speed Tactic is another option too. That is actually a really good option, I think. If you're using him alongside any infantry units, then they don't need infantry. Sorry, they don't need null follow-up from themselves. I think that could be really good. Also, yeah, Joint Drive could be good. A Rain could be decent, but I don't know how often he's going to be getting close enough to the units for a Rain to actually activate. I just realized something like Crossbar Attack could also be decent. Or it's just a Joint Drive for a little bit more budget option. Attack Defense Hold is another option as well, yep. Once we get that, which we don't have yet. But yeah, I think seeing another alternative to Eldingen is really cool. It's just unfortunate that he's a 5-star exclusive, so most people probably will not be able to build him. Thank you for the submission. Alright, next up from Infantry Pulse, the man, the myth, the legend himself. We've got... oh, the music got really loud a little bit. I'm going to turn it down a tiny bit. Okay, so let's see what Infantry Pulse had to say. He said, the anti-Valentine's Crom build I run on Astra Season. Thor support means she gets an instant bonfire off on the counterattack, which ends up being better than Iceberg because of Thor and Naga buffs. I like that. Chat's pointing out this is not an infantry unit, so instant 0 out of 10. Nah, but for real, I think Svalin's Shield is definitely an underutilized A skill for a lot of save tanks, especially on defense teams, and I think you can do a lot with them. If you have some way like you do with like that instant special. I think instant bonfire, pretty hard hitting. Hack the game to give her infantry pulse. Exactly, that's the only advice I have for you. But yeah, cool build. Does she do well? Like, do you find that she does well? Does she, like, are there any units she struggles against? Armor pulse. Don't give them ideas. We really don't need that. Armors already have so much. Okay, Aqua, so there was a form posted on my community tab and on Twitter a couple days ago, but unfortunately I'm not taking any more submissions right now, because I have a lot to get through anyway, so hopefully next time around, you'll be able to submit something. Alright, next up, from JFK, who is a Twitter oomphy, they say, my summer Seth, waiting for the free manual because I have no grails, sob emoji. I think this is really good. I didn't know he could get that fast. Especially since he already comes with Seahorse Axe, so it's kind of like a soft null follow-up. Because you got the guaranteed follow-up. Sorry, I keep hiccuping. You've got the guaranteed follow-up, and you've also got the speed. But yeah, this is really good. I think Rouse Attack Speed 4, maybe not the best option, unless you do find that like he struggles with Panic a lot. Otherwise, I would probably just give him a Menace skill instead. But I think Rouse Attack Speed 4 is quite good anyway, and it is very premium skill, so I get it if you just want to keep that. He does have nice art, I agree, Cheryl. But yeah, aside from that, I think Moonbow goes well with Surge Sparrow. I think the Near Trace is great, and the Blade Session is great. So, Super Slay, hope you get that last copy soon. Alright. From Connor, we've got this, Robin. Another Robin. Connor says, I don't really make seasonals as merge projects, so here's Valentine's female Robin. Super underrated unit in my opinion. Being colorless is nice for matchups, and her drive in combat healing is very useful for tanks, and stacks well with other healings such as that from Finish. I use her as a Far Saver in Light Season, and she's proven to be very helpful. Yeah, this is really strong. Don't really have any advice. You've already got the guard from Crafty Fighter. You've got the neutralizes foes penalties, foes bonuses from distant defense. So yeah. Yeah, Cheryl points out you could do what Infantry Pulse did and give her, Svalin's Shield, but then you do lose out on the extra stats, especially since you don't really have any merges on her, so I mean, if you find that you do get hit by a lot of Valentine's Chroms or other armor effective units, I think Svalin's Shield could be good, otherwise I think you're great as is. Alright, from Yuzuchi. Sorry if it seems like I'm going quickly over the units, by the way, guys. It's just because, like, we are already an hour and a half in, and I am only through about half of these. So I really want to go quicker. Alright, so we've got this Spring Sonya. They say they run her in Ether Raids, Defense, and Chaos Season, and in Summoner Duels, and pair her with Valentine's Chrome for the Accelerated Special, and Bridal Catria for the Brave hits. This is really scary. This This would definitely kill my Brave Hector. 80 visible attack is kind of insane. I don't really have any advice for you because this is kind of just like ideal. This is optimal. Yeah, very scary unit who I am really glad that not a lot of other people run. Yeah, Connor, they mentioned that they use Duochrome for the special support. But yeah, she just kills units. She hits you and you die. That's a really good way of putting it, Plaz. Alright, from Laser Waffles, we've got this Corrin. They say, my Corrin is not the strongest and I'm hoping to make her better. She does do the job when she's around strong units, but I wish I had better blue tomes to inherit. The B skill is something that I was experimenting on, but she has guard bearing normally. Can she run guard bearing? I thought guard bearing was a melee exclusive. But I don't know. I think this is pretty good. I think... oh yeah, that's a good point. Coffee's pointing out Spider Plush and Guard are both doing the same thing. So you might want to take a look at that and switch out one of them. A great option would be to give her Drifting Grace from the Lewin that we have in the codes. That way you get some offensive stats, which I think would be really good. Or Flora Guide would be an option as well. Good budget option, Desperation. I guess, yeah. If you do want to go a little bit higher budget, I think a Trace skill could be decent on her. I wouldn't really recommend Speed Preempt just because I don't think it would do that much on her. But anyway. Also, if you do ever pick up Oath 4, I think that could be a decent option for her. And then I would swap out the Attack Speed Solo 4 for something more like Attack Speed Unity or Catch. And just in general, like, Catch is a pretty good option. I would say better than Attack Speed Solo 4 if you do have the fodder for it. But yeah, those are a couple different options for the P slot, also the weapon. Also, I would recommend not Attack Refining your tome, just because Attack Refine on ranged tomes only gives +1 attack, whereas Speed Refine gives +2 speed. So I would recommend that. Thank you for the submission. Alright, the next one we have got from Jay. So let's see who this is. Ooh, this is really strong. They say, this build is mainly to synergize with Frenzy to stack as much speed as possible. This is the arena set, but I mostly only do PvE content as of late. They are very fast. Yeah, I think Surge Sparrow and Lunar Flash is such a cool combo. Don't know if I would really change anything. Yeah. I'm trying to think. Okay, Kevin says no follow-up seal. Yeah, that is an option. You do have them at +10, so they already have quite a bit of an attack and speed. So I do think that null follow-up would help. But yeah, this is a very good unit on player phase. Thank you for the submission. Alright, from Hadrian. We've got... They say, this is my completely innovative armor build that's never been seen before. I like FE6. This is really strong. Hardy Fighter, a classic, you're right, totally never been seen before. I don't really have any other suggestions. This is basically like a slight side grade to Duo Milla now that I think about it, because she's got Foe cannot make a follow-up attack in Zephyr Breath, and she's also got Hardy Fighter, which neutralizes guaranteed follow-up attacks. You don't have the damage reduction like Duo Milla, but I still think this is really good. Yeah, I don't really have any advice. Stay slay. Oh, that's a good point. She doesn't get a follow-up, so I guess you could give her Quick Riposte, but I don't know if it's really necessary. But if you are missing kills, yes, I would recommend QR Seal. Alright, on to the next one. Duo Milla, Rip Duma. Sometimes I say one, sometimes I say the other. Alright, from Mako, she, her. Thank you for specifying your pronouns. So Mako says, Please pretend she has Attack Mode 4. They didn't have to release Rearmed Robin at the same time as she was rerunning. My poor orbs. Alright. Let's see what else they're saying. Yeah, so they say they're upset that they can't run Dragon Scale, but I still think this is pretty strong. That's Defense Res Unity, Arc Dragon's Wrath, and then Attack Mode 4 you said you want to get in the future. And yeah, I would definitely not really go for Attack Refine on her. A Defense Refine could be decent to even out her defenses a little bit more. But I think if you do want to stick with the Arcane Breath, I would change that Refine. But yeah, I mean, even the base Breath is actually pretty strong. So I guess it's really down to you, like which build you feel like is stronger. I haven't tested them both, so I don't know which one would be better. But I think this is really cool. Alright, next up from Crab. We've got this Sorin. They say they use him on both seasons of ARD. And then on a Cavline using Halloween Azura to give him... Or not Halloween Azura, what am I saying? Hatari Azura to give him 3 movement. He rips apart just about anything, even foes with Deflect Magic because of him having DR. Yeah, this is really strong. Oh, Crab also included a little note at the end saying, P.S. This is Thancred, which is a Final Fantasy reference, which I super appreciate. Thank you for including that. I do really like Thancred a lot. But, yeah, I mean... Infantry Pulse is saying, sometimes Sorin wants lull because tanks can simply out-res him. That's true, if they've got res buffs, I guess. Although I do think the Mirror Impact, like that's plus 10 res from that. I'm sure his Tome also gives more, so I think that's pretty strong. Plus Speed is an interesting choice for a second boon because he's like, I guess fast-ish, but still not that fast. Hi Ritsu, sorry about that. You can watch the VOD later. Sorry. I agree, CVK. I love this OST as well. Oh, Shadowbringers and Endwalker music just hit different. But yeah, I mean, aside from maybe giving him lull instead, I think this is really strong. And I actually was playing Aether Raids earlier, and I got absolutely destroyed by a Sorin because my Brave Claw just couldn't counterattack to him. And afterwards I was like, what happened there? Why was Sorin quadding me without me being able to counterattack? And then it's because he actually has like a sweep effect against bow units, which I didn't know, but that's how I found out. Alright, next from Jade Geo, we've got this Nils. They say he is here to be a nuke. This is so cool. Arcane Grim, obviously a very good pick, and you're going with the solo build. I think that's cool. Times Pulse, I guess, to get off that instant Moonbow. Pretty slay, actually. And then the second hit is also Moonbow. Yeah. The only thing that I might change is maybe give him, he can't run damage reduction, right? I guess you could give him Dragon Wall, because he does have good res, but you're really going for that offensive build, so you're probably good as is. Yeah, we love to see dancers who actually can attack. Alright, next from Potato. We've got this build. This is their Ninja Korin. It is a very small screenshot, which is why it's going to show up super small on your end. I'm not zooming in though. This is just a really cool Ninja Korin. Pretty standard build. Don't really have any recommendations. They are just a very strong unit. Alright, next from Edith. They say, thank you for reviewing my build. Always love watching these streams. Thank you. And then Renee is a favorite of mine, so I had to spring for her Forma when I got the chance. If we get an Arcane Blue Tome, she's definitely going to get it. And they say they're not sure which boon to give her, so they left her at neutral. I think either plus attack or plus speed could work really well for her. I don't know if I would recommend one over the other. I think whichever one, I think even as it is, I think it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Like, neutral, you get both attack and speed, I think. People are saying speed. Okay, we could, yeah, maybe go with plus speed then. That's what chat's saying. Yeah, and like, everybody, we've had like 4 or 5 units already who have been like, oh, I really want an arcane blue tome for them, which is a good point. I guess blue tomes really are kind of in dire need of something good. But yeah. Super Slay, thank you for submitting your Renee, and thank you for the kind words as well. Alright, next from Sen. We've got Keaton. He's a unit who you don't see very often, but I do think he's really strong in attack and defense. So, the only thing I would change here is probably maybe don't give him Ether. Maybe something like Bonfire instead. I think a really good build, actually, now that I think about it, would be Bonfire as the special, because I don't think he has Slaying in his weapon, but if he does, correct me if I'm wrong. And then Times Pulse as the C skill. So with that, you're always getting off Bonfire with Steady Breath and then Special Spiral. Or I guess you could do, people are saying Ignis. Yeah, you could do Ignis too. People are saying he might like attack Smoke 4 just so that he doesn't get doubled. That could work, yeah. I definitely think there are better things you could do with the C skill, but cool to see. Thank you for submitting a rare unit. We love to see those. Alright, from Silent next. We've got this Caspar with Ninja Masakari, Solo 4, Frenzy, and Solo 3. Simple but effective. I might recommend, yeah, if you have trait fruits, I wouldn't make him plus defense. I would go maybe either, probably plus speed, just because you're going with the Frenzy build. But plus attack is also an option. And if you have flowers, that's another good thing you could do. But yeah, this is cool. Alright, from Sorcerer, we've got this Ninja Hana. They say, I'm working on getting the last few grails and materials I need for the seal. No idea what to do for the C skill, and if I get Thor, I will change the A skill to something else. So for the C skill, you could probably give her a Menace skill. Or Times Pulse, yeah. Actually, yeah, no, now that I think about it, that's the best one, because you're going for Gale Force. I assume it's no follow-up 2, just because they might not have the Sacred Coins to upgrade it. I know for newer players, it's definitely hard to get a lot of Sacred Coins. But yeah, Times Pulse is what I would go, if you're going with the Gale Force build, because that gets your Gale Force down to 4 cooldown. So with 2 hits with a Flashing Blade and a Ninja Masakari, it's really easy to trigger Gale Force. Hi, Owl Orange. Happy birthday, if it is your birthday, or if it's someone else's happy birthday to them. As the B skill, though, I don't know if Windsweep's the best option. If you're running her on a team with other Gale Forcers who get into Wings of Mercy range, maybe you could give her that. Or like Tempo, I think that could work as well. Oh, well, happy belated birthday. Alright, on to the next, from Nazo Harmonia. Ooh, I like this unit. They say, this was a build I did of Spring Loki in the honor of my good friend Winter. I think it's a pretty good build, but it is pretty basic LMAO. Hopefully it makes the cut. Well, it did make the cut, so let's take a look at it. White Cap Bow, obviously very good. Far Trace, very good. Oh my god, hi bestie! You know, the only thing I would maybe change is if you have the fodder for Catch and Menace. I think that could be a decent combo for her A skill and C skill. Or, Attack Speed Ideal 4 could also be really strong. If you have it, but I know it's pretty limited. And then Iote's Shield, I agree. I would swap that out for a player phase thing like Blade Session. Because, yeah, she's really just a player phase unit who's just meant to get in there and nuke, so Iote's Shield isn't super doing much for her. I feel like a unit like Duocrom will still one-shot her regardless, even if you, like, our running IOT's shield, so yeah, I would probably swap that out for something else, but really cool to see Loki. I have debated building her on more than one occasion because I like the art a lot. Still might do it someday, but my friends are trying to convince me not to do it. Alright, this Summer Freya. From Clash. Clash says, I really enjoyed her design and her weapon having almost full no follow-up when transformed. That makes her really good. Yeah, they use her in PvE and some Summoner Duels matches. Yeah, as just a player phase unit, I think that's really good. The Surge Sparrow helps with the healing from Glimmer. I don't know what Brightmare Horn does, but you did say it has no follow-up, so I think that's pretty good. Maybe the C skill I would swap to... maybe like Speed Spoke 4 could actually be an interesting pick. If you find that sometimes she has to take hits from people on enemy phase, I think that could work. Kevin's also saying for something gimmicky, you could give her Wind Sweep because she has no follow-up. Yeah, you could do that too. Trace is definitely nice though. Rouse 4 is another option, but like, I feel like, I don't know, I just tend to not really recommend Rouse 4 because it's pretty easy to get visible attack and speed buffs from elsewhere, and aside from that, it only gives Null Panic, which like Ashura can give, and also just in general, I don't think it's super useful in the player's hands. Attack Smoke 4 also could work, yeah. Alright, so from Lyric, we've got this, Nana. Ooh, cool. You really don't see her a lot either. So Lyric says, Hi Promise, this is my multi-map queen who restores 30 HP at the start of a map. She's no slouch in combat either. I have another build with Serpentine Staff with 2 Savage Blows, but this is the one I'm submitting because to me it's more Sparkles, iconic Sparkles. I think this is really cool. Yeah. With the Staff of 12 and Odd Recovery, definitely a lot of healing. We love the offensive healers who can also be supportive. If you do want her to be more supportive, more offensive by herself, you could give her like Attack Speed Solo or Blade Session Seal. But aside from that, super cool. Thank you for your submission. And she is Sparkles, iconic Sparkles. Alright, from Gus Gus. We've got this Hellbindi. Gus Gus says, I got him and have loved using him when I can. Had to bench him for a while, but arcane weapons are amazing and he has done really well on my offense team. Yeah, I love how the arcane sword in particular so far has really breathed a new life into a lot of sword units from before. So I think that's really cool. Aside from that, I was gonna say I'd give him Quick Riposte, but no, Arcane Eleuthia already has the guaranteed follow-up. Null follow-up B slot. I mean, he is kind of slow, so I don't know if null follow-up is gonna help him much. But maybe. But yeah, no, cool to see another less used unit get love. I do agree. I don't know why people call him ugly. I do think he's handsome. I think he's an awesome guy too. Alright, from Jalef, or Halef, sorry if I mispronounced that. We've got this Angel of Night Jafar with the Farsave build. I don't know what Jasku Chiwa does, so I can't really give my thoughts on that. But aside from that, I think the Defense 4 is great, Slick Fighter's great. The only thing is, I think you're kind of missing Guard here, so if I were you, I would probably give him a tier 4 stance instead, or swap to Crafty Fighter instead. Yes, actually, okay, so it's a cavalry effective dagger. I actually really like the cavalry effective weapons. Like, on my Farsave Halloween Ileana, I do run the cavalry effective tome, just because I feel like for cav lines and just in general, like people run so many cavs nowadays that it's just so helpful to just one-shot them before they can get their second hit in on you. Yes, Cassie, we went over yours near the start of the stream if you want to go back and check the VOD after. But I hope your work went well and thank you for stopping by. But another option would be Courtly Mask, but I don't know how often he gets doubled, so I don't know how useful Courtly Mask would be. Really, you think penalty neutralization is better than guard? I've just found guard to be so, like, necessary on my Farsavers, but maybe that's just me. Alright, next from Will. We've got this Vika, Pirate Vika. Very strong. Very strong. I don't really have any suggestions. She deals a lot of damage and has a lot of res. Wow, I did not realize her res stat was that high. This is super slay. Yeah, Kevin points out, too bad Beast Flyers can't get flow skills. Yeah, so you can't really give her one of the flow skills. That's kind of the only other thing I would recommend. But I think that's very strong. Another unit you don't see often, but she honestly has a really, really pretty art, and I really enjoy seeing her when I do. Kevin also says, yeah, maybe Speed Smoke 4 could be another option if you do leave her in range of people after attacking. Alright, we've got another Dean. So this is from Jack. Jack says, this is his build for ARD. I usually have him with a Trace / Wind Sweep and 2 Savage Blows to clear maps and take down tanky enemies. This is cool. I've never really seen this kind of build for him. But I do think that's a good way to, like, you know, get people's HP down. We don't have a Fire Sweep Dagger, so I can't really recommend that. But yeah, I mean, for a more general purpose build, I do think, like, Wind Sweep and then I'll follow up Dagger might be better. But I still think this is pretty cool. Oh, also you could give him Menace, maybe. That would be an option, but yeah. Alright, next from Chase. We've got this Luthier. Chase says, working on those flowers, lol. Yeah, we've seen this build on a lot of units today. The Surge Sparrow, with the Trace. And I don't super have much more to say about it. I think it's a great build. Only thing I might change is if you do have Attack Smoke 4, I think that could be pretty strong. Or Speed Smoke 4, if you want. And maybe swap out the Lance. I don't know what Carrot Tip Spear does. There might be a better one, but I don't really know. Oh yeah, like we just got Rain Lance, so if you ever want to pick that up for him, I think that'd be decent. Alright, on to the next. I was just grabbing a drink of water. From Monty Mole, we've got Rinka. They say, just your typical speedy tank with some oath movement shenanigans. Yeah, this is great. We love Vital Astra. We love the Arcane Sword. And, you know, I don't know if I would recommend anything else. I think Velocity's a great pick. I like this. I like this a lot. Maybe swap out Speed Defense Form to, like, attack speed, but if you like her to have more defense, you know, I guess that works. But yeah. Alright, next from Desiree. I'm so sorry if I butchered that. That would be my guess on how to pronounce your name. So we've got this Super Slay Naga. And they say, I didn't have a better seal to give her since all my good ones are being used on other units currently. And they're asking for any suggestions to improve her build. So yeah, definitely would give her a better seal if you do have, like, the nice thing with seals is you can swap them around. So if you're ever not using like an attack speed boosting seal on someone else, I think it could be good to give her like attack speed form, or attack speed solo could be good. But yeah, now that we just got Arcane Grima as an inheritable rearmed weapon, I definitely just think it would be a lot better on her than Serenity Breath. So if you do manage to pick that up, I think that would be great. But aside from that, this is super slay. And she does have a lot of stats. Alright, from Irv, we've got a Summer Sylvain. He has shown up many times in these unit reviews, so we got another one right now. And they say, I probably have any A skill you'd recommend, lol. Love Sylvain so much. Definitely want Rouse Attack Speed 4, though. Honestly, I would say, like, Menace is great. Probably don't bother going for it. Rouse Attack Speed 4, I just really don't think it's worth it. Also, Pledgian Torch, as far as I know, works off of res debuffs. So, attack res menace would be another option. Unless you're getting res debuffs from somewhere else, I think this is pretty strong. And also the debuffs from menace help activate catch as well, not just pledging. So, I would definitely just stick with the menace and maybe attack res menace if you have that instead. Oh, hi, Irv. Thank you for stopping by. But yeah. Don't really have much more advice for you. I think this is a super slay build. Oh my god, guys, we're down to... Okay, how many do we have left? I gotta count, because my throat is gonna give out. But I really want to get through all of these. So let's see. We've got 19 left. Okay, we can do this. We can do this. I can power through this. We're gonna go super fast, though. So, from JM Andrew, we have got this Larcey, Scion Larcey. Very strong. Null Sea Disrupt is a little bit of a weird choice, IMO. I would probably go for maybe, like, Velocity instead for the damage reduction and the Null Guard. And I would, or actually no, because you're going Godlike Reflexes, another option would be Shield Pulse. Aside from that, Flashing Blade, I don't know if I love the Flashing Blade on her. It just doesn't seem to synergize well with Distant Dart, which implies that you're, like, tanking enemy phase with her, but then you've also got the Flashing Blade, so... Oh, she already has Null Guard in her weapon? Okay, never mind, ignore me. So maybe not Velocity then, but, like, maybe another one of the damage reduction skills would be an option. Or, like Kevin says, Mystic Boost 4 is another option, although it's much more limited. Like, we just got it and it's on a 5-star exclusive. Or Shield Pulse. I think Shield Pulse could work, actually. Flashing Blade is mixed phase, but only per unit's attack. I don't know why I thought it was Initiation. Is that Flashing Blade 4 that's Initiation, or is it just in general? I don't know. Yeah, I do think Shield Pulse is just a much more reliable way to get up Godlike Reflexes. So if you do have the fodder for that, I think that could be cool. But aside from that, she's super strong. I, like, never see +10s of this unit. Alright, on to the next one from Vanille. We've got Moosebell. Wow. +10 Flame Moosebell. Okay, I can tell... You love the art. I love the art. We all love the art. He looks so good in this alt, guys. Like, such an improvement over his base art, IMO. But yeah. So Irv says... Oh, sorry, no. This is from Vanille. Vanille says, there he is, my baby girl, heart emoji. My favorite thing is calling fictional men who are probably war criminals baby girl. It's so funny. So, Distant Ferocity, obviously great, because he has a lot of attack. You foddered off a Duma for this. Dragon's Wrath 4, also pretty expensive. Oh no, he comes to Dragon's Wrath 4, never mind, so that's not expensive fodder. Theology, Joel is saying they should try AoE Moosebell. That's so interesting. What would that look like, Joel? Like, I assume you wouldn't run Distant Ferocity then? Would you probably run... I don't know. Could you run the new, like, Still Earth skill or whatever? Am I calling that one wrong? You know, the one that gives attack and defense? I think that could be a good option. Solid Ground. I do not remember those skills. Oh, Valuria support. Okay. So yeah, I guess you could, if you want to go all out, try something different. Listen to Joel's advice. Try out AoE build with Valuria support. I think that's cool. And then yeah, if you have Solid Ground to give him, I do think that would synergize really well with the AoE one. But as it is now, I think this is a really cool build anyway, and he probably just kind of one-shots everything. Alright, from Zelcher, we've got this Ignatz. They say they use this build in Ether Raids. Special Fighters help Glacies activate in 1 round. Does he get it off in 1 round? Because it's 4 cooldown. I guess, like, the second hit, it would activate. But that definitely probably does a lot of damage. Don't know if I have any other advice aside from that. If you did want to swap out Special Fighter, you could give him... I wonder if he'd be a good user of Savvy Fighter, because he is fast. So that's an option. You could do that. But I think this is cool. Oh, and they say sometimes I'll put some version of a speed form skill, because the speed creep in this game is kind of nutty. Yeah, I think if you do, like, kind of go with a more speedy build, which it seems like that, a decent option would be Savvy Fighter. But yeah, thank you for your submission. Alright, we are down to the last stretch. Let's just power through all of these. I definitely have to set the submission limit lower next time, though. Okay, from Galaxy, we've got another Spring Loki. Love to see her. They say they killed their free Linja for her. Thanks to Whitecat Bow, they can use her a lot more than before. They're just waiting for catch, hold, and rearmed bow fodder now. Yeah, I mean, catch, once you get it, would be a great pick. As the C skill, you could give her a menace, or attack speed Oath 4, which is kind of expensive fodder, but I do think it could be really good on her. But yeah, Super Slay, thank you for your submission. And y'all are really making me want to build Loki. Okay, from J-Ron, we have got this Halloween male Grima, with the Arcane Grima. So, they say, I can say most of my problems with Brave Alm and Brave Seliph are more bearable than before, and since he always soaks the Dark Shrines, he gets to enjoy more stats from the Unity. Yeah, I mean, don't really know if I would change anything here. Yeah. Party Fighter, probably just your best bet for his B skill, so, yeah, I don't really think I'd change anything. I don't know if he needs it, actually, though, the Warding Breath. Does he need that for Pavis? How much cooldown is Pavis? Because I don't really know if he needs the Warding Breath, or maybe to recharge it after, I guess? I don't really know. Oh, Pavis is 3 cooldown. Okay, I guess that makes sense, yeah. Then you do kind of need the breath. Or you could go with Scutcheon and then swap out his breath for, like, defense res form or something, but, I think this works too. Alright, from Ben. We've got this Ninja Shamir. They say they built her because they were bored. Originally, Null Follow-Up was the B slot, but now with the seal, she works a lot better because she doesn't get one shot thanks to Close Call. Yeah, I think this is really good. I think Null Follow-Up seals opened up so many build possibilities for, like, so many units. And I think this is really strong. She's basically just, like, 2021 Ninja Hana. So basically the same stats, just a little bit better. But yeah. Might change up the solo. But I guess since you're using her as a player phase unit anyway, you're probably solo most of the time, so it's fine. Maybe swap out Panic Smoke for, like, a menace skill. But aside from that, I think this is really strong. And Panic Smoke has its niche uses, too. Yeah, and once we get a rearmed axe, that would be a great pickup for her. Do I think we're gonna get another ninja banner this year? That's a good question. I think it's like 50-50. I don't know one way or the other. If I had to guess, I'd probably say no, but also I feel like it's sold really well in the past, so maybe. Alright, so they're from Super Will, this is their Joshua. And they say he has the res boon due to having multiple kits, like they have a Spendthrift CC build on him. But they say this is the one they're using now. He doesn't overperform in any area like the other two Joshuas do, but he's still really strong and super fun to use. Just waiting on that arcane bow. Yeah, I think Whitecap bow is a great pick for this build, and I don't really know if I would change anything. Bye, Giratina. Good luck at school tomorrow. Yes, I need to sleep early today too, because my first day of work is tomorrow. I gotta be up at like 7 a.m. And I normally sleep at like 1 or 2 a.m. And so that's not gonna fly anymore. But thank you, bestie. Good night. I hope you have a great night. Oh, your high school starting tomorrow, Coffee? Good luck with that. Wow, I feel old. I feel ancient. Alright, from Sen. We have got this Ryoma. Wow. Definitely a unit you don't see a lot. They say they also use him with Speed Preempt and the bonus Doubler Seal inside a Ryoma Emblem team. That's so cool. Wow. I will say, you don't really have a way to charge lethality, I think. So if you have like external like support maybe to help charge lethality more, I think that could be really good. You also I don't think, does Florid Knife have no follow-up? If so, you're probably good with Wind Sweep, but otherwise, oh no, because you got the no follow-up seal. I'm dumb, sorry. But yeah, this is really good. Yeah, the only thing I might change is, again, like, if you do have external support to get off lethality, that'd be great. But aside from that, I guess just having lethality there just as, like, a... Well, if it activates it, it does. I guess that's fine as well. Alright, from Gloom. We've got this Sophia. They say ranged flyers deserve better. That's cool. I do think... yeah, there's like not too much you can do with her B skill or the seal other than give her quick riposte because she does kind of need it. I think it would be really interesting if we got like a... I've said this before when we got speed preempt, but like if we got something like a res preempt or a defense preempt or an attack preempt even, I think that would be interesting. So if we had that, res preempt would be awesome on her, but obviously this is just like a theory. It might never happen. But I like that. Yet again, another unit who we're saying rearmed Blue Tome when. But yeah, I think this is cool. And I like to see people building less used seasonals. Alright, from Ante, we've got this Summer Claude. We finally have a Summer Claude. Thank you for submitting that. Ante says, this is the build I mostly use, but he also has Swift Sparrow 3, Sturdy Impact, Disarm Trap for Ether Raids, and a Rally for Arena. That's awesome. That's great. Summer Claude is just one of those units who works so well with any variation of like an attack speed boosting skill. I would probably switch up the seal to give him speed as well. I don't really think he's getting anything out of that defense catch, to be honest, because of the 80% damage reduction from Fallen Star. Aside from that, you might want to consider Impact for his A skill. That's what I run on him personally most of the time. I just find that having that follow-up negation when he initiates is really strong. Also, a really good C skill for him that I really want to grab for mine is Attack Speed Oath 4. I think that's very good on him. But yeah, if you have any kind of like null follow-up support for him too, he's just that much better even. So thank you for submitting a Claude. Yeah, this is the first Claude in the stream. Maybe people were like, oh, we don't want to submit Claudes because like everybody will be submitting Claudes. And so nobody submitted Claudes because they all thought everybody else was going to. Alright, from the Adder, we've got this Spring Myrrh build. They say, not my cleverest build. Spring Myrrh doing what Spring Myrrh does already, but even more. upping her Dragon's Hour by 1 stage and replacing her DC with Mirror Stance 3 is what I did recently. And they don't have any Menace fodder, so they say, like, they can't give her that fodder. Yeah, this is good. I do think Dragondires is probably her best B skill. But aside from that, if you don't have the Menace, you can't really swap that out. Kevin says attack res hold in the future. Yeah, that would be an option in the future. Oh, this is loud. I gotta turn down the music. Okay, yeah, but very, very strong Myrrh. And I guess another option would be to give her Dragon Wool, but I think Dragon's Hour is probably just better, so I would just stick with that. She's already got damage reduction. Alright, from Spark, we've got this... Oh, Pumpkin Smasher Dorcas. You, like, never see him, and I actually really like Dorcas, so it's cool to see him. They said started building him before save skills came out, so you can imagine how excited I was to have a way to use him competitively. Unfortunately, I don't use him too much currently due to also having a close save Pirate Surtur, but I want to start using him in AR again soon. So that's cool. That's I don't really know if I would change anything. Maybe Love Candelabra. Maybe I would swap that out because that one feels like more of a supportive weapon rather than like being good for him. Although I guess it does help out his fellow Farsaver. But yeah, I would probably swap out the axe. Also, I'm just realizing you're stacking guard here because you've got the Sturdy Stance, which has guard, and you've also got Slick Fighter. Or no, sorry, my bad. I thought you were stacking guard, but Slick Fighter's not the one with guard, that's Crafty Fighter, so just ignore what I just said. Seahorse Axe would actually be a great option, but then you probably want to swap out Slick Fighter. I'm realizing, like, Hardy Fighter could be a really good B skill. And then you could give him, like, a Scutcheon alongside a Seahorse Axe. You thought I said Sticky Fighter for a second? That's yucky. That sounds gross. But yeah, if you do ever want to upgrade Hardy Fighter, and Seahorse Axe would be a great option for him, in my opinion. Alright, from Raul, we've got this Kurth Naga, the second one we've seen today. Pretty much identical to the first one. I think this is really good. They're saying this is one of the first units that brought me to FEH. He was one of my first units and I invested so much into him. And when I heard about rearmed weapons, I knew I would be pulling for the Arcane Dragonstomp. Yeah. This is really good. He's very tanky. The only thing I'm noticing here... Actually, no, I was gonna say he doesn't have a guaranteed follow-up, but he actually does because of Arcane Grima, so that's slay. You could... Obviously, merges for him is something that I think would help a lot. I think his rerun banner is back right now if you do want to pick up some extra copies. But aside from that, I don't really have any advice. I think this is really good. Hey, Royal Knight. I hope work went well. We did go over your unit like near the start of the stream if you want to check out the VOD. And we are down to like the last 5 units, which is awesome because getting through 90 units is a lot. I did not realize how tiring this would be. I'm gonna have to make it lower next time. But anyways, next up from Arctic Pyre, we've got this Fiora, and their caption is, "What's a low tier?" I think the Arcane Eleuthir is great. I would probably swap out Guard Bearing. It doesn't really have synergy with Sturdy Impact, because this is like a this looks like a mixed phase build, so I would recommend probably specializing on either player phase or enemy phase. So actually I'm thinking now a cool build, if you want to go player phase, keep the impact, maybe give her a trace, I think could work, and then as a C skill you could give her a menace, but actually I don't even know if you need the impact, because you already have like a soft impact effect from Arcane Eleuthir with foe cannot make a follow-up attack. So maybe you don't even need that. Maybe you could just give her like a catch or something then. But yeah, regardless, I would just recommend picking one of the two phases and kind of specializing on that rather having as more of like a mixed phase. But yeah, no, it's cool. Alright, from Chase Doodles. They say, any ideas on how to improve this build? And also good luck for your Halloween Duma merge project. Thank you. The Halloween Duma merge project is probably a dead dream at this point because I'm just leaving this banner with a +3 and I don't know if I have the mental fortitude to go for the +10 on double special heroes, but thank you for the good luck. Yeah, I mean, only thing I can think that I would really change here, if you do manage to get that extra merge, that would be great. Also change the seal. Mystic Boost probably isn't too helpful. Since you're going all in on the attack and speed, I would recommend like attack speed solo maybe, because you also already need to be solo for Pledging Torch, or Blade Session. Aside from that, if you do have trait fruits, I would recommend either going plus attack or plus speed. But yeah. We've seen a lot of Summer Sylvains. I think this is pretty standard as far as most of them go, and I think it's pretty good. Alright, down to the last 4, guys. We're almost at the end. Oh, Royal Knight, who did the art for me? Okay, so, this artist from Twitter, their name is CVK. They also did the old Promise art that I had in most of my overlays. So I'm going to link their Twitter again in chat, just so that you guys can go check them out on Twitter. They are such a good artist. This looks so pretty. They did this just out of the goodness of their own heart, and I do appreciate it. All right. Last 4, guys. From Sir, we've got Mercedes. This is a really cool build. I think she kind of is not that great of a unit, just because, like, she has, like, no speed stat. But I think, you know, what you have right now is pretty decent. I would probably recommend swapping out the Refine on Peachy Parfait. I know you don't have that many great options if you maybe like a Res Refine, but yeah, you're really only getting 1 attack out of that Refine. I don't know if it's worth it. But let's see what they've said in their description. She works well in my arena runs with an effective +35 to her attack and a lull from her weapon. She reaches 98 attack while nullifying res buffs, allowing her to kill mostly anything that isn't a blue res tank or a dodge tank. That's true. I do wonder, you got her at +10, clearly you got a lot of investment into her. I wonder if you could speed stack this unit. I feel like you could. Like, if I could speed stack my Reinhardt, I feel like you could do that. Like, you could just completely overhaul this. Give her a Floret, a trait fruit to make her plus speed. Give her speed refined. I don't know if there are any other good red tomes, but you can give her attack speed catch, attack speed fortress or speed res, attack speed menace. I don't know. Sir says, I wanted to, but I already had speed built my base Mercedes. That's fair. That's fair. If you find that this works, like, you know, good enough, I would just stick with it. But if you're ever feeling a little funky fresh and like you want to make a fast, slow unit fast, I think you could. Alright. Okay, so last 3, we've got this from Jonathan. We've got Bath Camilla. Jonathan says, I've been meaning to merge her up, but I'm lacking the feathers after Gerald. She is pretty fun with Summer Lynn? S. Lynn? Who's S. Lynn? Is that Summer Lynn? I don't know. But anyway, she's pretty fun with S. Lynn and Kranya. Also put Claude into her because his beard. I don't really understand what that means. But anyways. Broadleaf Fan. You know, if you're going with Broadleaf Fan, which works on the foe's debuffs, I would probably give her a Menace. Oh, hi Jonathan, you're in chat. You think Claude's beard is whack? You know, I still think it's cute, but I do agree it could have been better. But yeah. I think the only thing I would really change is maybe give her a Menace, and maybe change the B skill I think if you have bar trace fodder, I think it would be really good. And Kevin is saying you could also go for advantage build. That's true. I know broadleaf fan plus vantage definitely used to be really like a big thing. So yeah, I mean there are a couple options you could do, but I would give her a menace and maybe change her B skill to either a trace or vantage if you do want to go that way. Thank you for the submission. And then second last submission from Orange. Oh, okay. Let me read their caption first before y'all say anything. They say, "Don't laugh. With a team of rearmed Grima, Niffle, and Ymir, she is exceptionally tanky and surprisingly fast." Yeah, I can't say I've ever seen a speed stacked Rhea before. And like, honestly, I don't know, like, if it's that good. Because you've already got the guaranteed follow-up from Arcane Grima, so I wonder if it might be best to just, Oh, this is not a seasonal. Oh, I'm so sorry. Ignore everything I just said. I should not be reviewing this. Sorry about that, Orange. I did not notice, and I said I wouldn't be reviewing any non-seasonals, so I will not be reviewing this. But thank you for the like. It's definitely something. Alright. This last one from Magic is Broken, the bestie. She edited her dancer Reinhardt's face to look more like a vampire. So actually, we can zoom in on that a little bit so y'all can see just how cool. Yeah, Magic is really pro with edits. She messaged me. She's like, "Hey bestie, I submitted an edited Reinhardt for your stream. I hope that's okay." I'm like, that is more than okay. That's awesome. But yeah. So let's see what Magic's got cooking with this build. She says, "It's Reinhardt but green. Oh, and he can dance too, I guess, lol. This build is res themed because I gave him an ascended res stat. My reasoning for deciding res skills was to counter res-based damage reduction." Interesting. "And also because I sure as heck wasn't saving a base speed stat even lower than blue Reinhardt's." So they say if they're Magic says if she's not running Trace on him, she'll use Sturdy Blow, Acrobatics, or Wings of Mercy. And then Ground Orders as the seal for maximum investment and team support. And she says also, "Hi bestie, I hope the stream is going well. Sorry in advance if I'm not able to make it." You are the last one in the stream, bestie, and this is just awesome. This is great. I think, honestly, the idea of res stacking him to counter res-based damage reduction is actually really cool. Because then you can get around like the tanky dragons who run Dragon Wall, so I think that's great. You know, if it was me, I am crazy and I probably would try and salvage the speed stat anyway, but I can't guarantee it would be good. But no, thank you so much for the submission, and thank you for editing Reinhardt's face. I think we all got a good kick out of that. And yeah, thank you all for coming to the stream. It has been almost 2.5 hours of me talking, so I'm gonna go rest my throat. And next time we'll definitely do a little bit of a lower cutoff for the units. But anyways, thank you all so much for coming. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And good luck to all of you who are starting school or work tomorrow or whatever. But yeah, bye everyone.